All right, we are back, and we want to say thank you to the folks at Community Medical Center for Health Talk this morning, but we are shifting gears as we do so nimbly around here.
That's a nice segue.
Thank you. Anytime. I'm here all week. Try the veal. Anyway, that's John King over there. I'm Peter Kristen. Joining us here in studio, Missoula businessman, actually Montana businessman, Michael Burks, and it's good to see you again, sir.
Hi, Peter. Thanks for having me.
All right. Now, one of the most talked about events that's happened in the last, less than a week.
Yeah.
Is the situation with the Missoula Maulers and the Glacier Ice Rink. The Maulers going great guns. Had a great season this past year.
I think by far the best season we've had in 9 years, for sure.
In your 9th year.
Yeah.
Right. And so before we get into all the stuff that happened this week, give us a little top of the trees history of the Maulers, if you would.
The Maulers were created in 2005. Corey Miller and myself got together and just basically decided that since there were teams in Coeur d'Alene and Butte, Bozeman, Helena, Billings, that Missoula might be successful. And so we put a business plan together. We went over to Spokane and met with the general manager of the Chiefs over there. He gave us a really informative backstage tour of how the Chiefs do all of their things and gave us an insight of what was going on. We went and talked to the Helena Bighorns at the time, got the advice from them. And so we pretty much put our own plan into place based on all of the information they had. And out of thin air was the logo, the name, the website, the everything. And we opened up the fall of 2006 in October, absolutely having no idea what the reaction was going to be. At the time, there wasn't a lot of internet purchases and stuff. And we had an internet site in which you bought tickets or what have you, but everybody didn't trust back then with putting their credit cards and stuff in.
Right.
So we had no pre-sales at all that day. We had no idea. And so we kind of just opened the doors and, all right, let's see what happens.
Hope for the best, right?
And 2,000 people showed up.
Wow.
It was unbelievable. We weren't ready. We were literally
where were they standing? I mean,
everywhere, on top of shoulders, everywhere. It was one of the most amazing things. And basically what we ended up doing is instead of having a kind of ticket, whatever else, we were just running down the lines of people outside and just taking their money. and just let them in and just filter them in. And I think it was probably by the end of the first period by the time we get everybody in there.
Wow.
And it was just an amazing welcome by this community. And we knew right then and there that something special was happening. And, the last 9 years have been just awesome. It's been one of the funnest times of my life, for sure. The community support, the fact that these boys come in from all over the country and they contribute to Missoula by the nonprofits, the teddy bear tosses, the turkey drives.
How old are the kids? They have to be a junior.
The kids are 16 to 20 years old.
Okay, all right.
Once they've hit 21, they either have to go to college or get a job.
Sure.
Whatever
Get a
comes
job,
next, whatever
kid.
daddy says they have to do.
Right, yeah.
We pride ourselves on a lot of the kids are going to D3 schools, getting scholarships. And, we do have one goalie, Andy DeCristofaro, who lived with me for 3 years, who's actually playing pro hockey in Michigan.
Cool.
And a little story about him, because I love him, because he's like my son. He graduated from Morris, then got picked up by a semi-pro team in Michigan. They were in last place. He got Rookie of the Year, or Rookie of the Week or month, then got Rookie of the Year, and they won the championship under his belt.
Wow.
Yeah. So, just made a name for himself, and it's just I'm so proud that, I could brag about him because, he was a Missoula Mauler, and he'll always be a Missoula Mauler. It's been awesome. There's been a couple league changes. We're in the NORPAC when we started, and then the NORPAC and the A-Dub split due to bickering and whatever else they were doing. So we went obviously with the A-Dub since it was Montana and Wyoming based.
For those not in the mix here, what are these acronyms
sorry.
you're throwing out?
Okay, so NORPAC is the Northern Pacific Hockey League, and at the time, the Northern Pacific Hockey League ranged from Seattle, Medford, all the way to, at the time, Cody, Wyoming. It was a league that stretched the entire between Washington, Oregon, Idaho, and across. And it was competitive, but not as competitive as a lot of the other Tier 3, which is our level leagues out there. And what happened was they had two different divisions, East-West. The East was Montana, Wyoming, and the West was Washington, Oregon. Well, what happened every year was that Missoula and Helena duked it out, and Helena ended up winning most of the time. What would happen is the West had Seattle winning all the time, but the problem was is that Seattle wasn't near the strength and caliber as Missoula was. So we kept getting cheated out on going to nationals, knowing that we were the number 2 team. So we all kind of sat down, and Missoula especially was let's have another playoff. Let's have number 1 and number 2 play each other in Spokane or something, a one and done to see who goes to nationals and represents their teams, because we knew Missoula would win hands down every single time. The West said no way, no how, so we split. And that's basically that.
Okay.
Unfortunately, Missoula's a part of these splits because our guys deserved it. Our guys deserved to go to nationals. And the first year that we were on our own in the A-Dub, the Maulers went to nationals in Rochester, Minnesota because of what happened, which was a huge compliment to them. And so we stayed in the A-Dub, and then, I guess the truth is the truth. Helena has a knack of winning every year to the point of very unusual winning every year. When you go, 46-2, 10 years in a row, something's a little weird, and that's exaggerating.
You think they're cheating?
Yes.
In what way?
Well, what I did is I got 72 pages of documented blatant black and white cheating, point fixing, illegal players, you name it.
Wow.
Straight up, they had illegal Swedes, everything else.
What's an illegal Swede? Is that like something Donald Trump should be blocking when they get to the corner of the...
It's when you have a foreign player that's playing for your team and they haven't registered with USA Hockey. These players never registered with USA Hockey, therefore they were never insured, therefore they weren't supposed to be on the ice. And they played 27 games that year. We had a mid-season AGM in Billings, Montana. I brought all this information to light to the entire league. There were 8 teams at the time, and I was voted down 7-1 to do anything about it. So everybody thinks I just get mad for no reason and take off. And the thing is I don't like to air dirty laundry. We left. See you later. We're going to the Western States. I could have,
because I was saying, why didn't we hear anything about this?
Because I'm not that kind of person.
Okay.
I mean, I know Missoula thinks I am, but I'm really not.
Okay.
Yeah, sure.
We're up against a break.
No
So
problem.
we're going to come right back. And now we got a little bit of background on the Maulers.
Sure.
We want to find out exactly what happened from your perspective.
Okay.
With the Glacier Ice Rink. It's been I know that from the voluminous amount of information that you provided to us yesterday, we put our story together. You have not ever made a single dime on the Maulers, right?
No, in fact, I think it came up to losing $1.2 million on bringing the Maulers to Missoula.
Okay.
Yes.
We're going to come right back. Stay with us.
Sure.
We're back on Talkback 721-1290. By the way, we have all 4 of our lines open. Michael Burks joining us. We're just getting into the topic that everyone's been talking about for the last week or so. What in the world happened with the Maulers and the Glacier Ice Rink? So we had a little bit of a history lesson here a moment ago. Go ahead, John.
Yeah, you regaled us with the touching stories. People in the pros now because Missoula Maulers existed, but it sounds like it's all come to an end as of last Thursday.
Yeah.
Tell us the recent news.
Well, first of all, I want to make it very clear that the press release that was sent out Thursday was to prevent this. It was very cut and dry. We agreed to disagree. We're just going to go our separate ways. And there were no name calling. There were no reasons why. There was no anything. I just wanted to go away silently without any issues. Bottom line is that I've invested about $600,000 into the Glacier Ice Rink. When we first started the junior program here, the league did not approve the rink because we didn't have the seating, the locker rooms, everything needed. So with the help of Jackson Contracting, we put in all there was from what I recall, there was a slab of ice and dirt, and walls. There was nothing else but that. And the green bleachers that are outside right now were the bleachers they used then. So what I did is put the concrete pad down there, put the locker rooms in there, put the concessions in there, put all the bleachers in there, the lights, the sounds. Basically, anything other than the foundation is what we did to get it prepped to go so we could be approved to play in the league. So,
in addition to that, though, but it also enhanced the property for everybody to use, right?
That's exactly it. It gave the rink the opportunity to host the tournaments that they now have told us take precedence over what the schedule.
Right.
So, and that's been a thing too. For 9 years, it's been a fight. We're always last. We're always last. And you know, you've seen over the last 3 years everybody crying that there's not enough ring time. Well, that's the truth. There's not.
Last in what way? Like that you feel that you deserve priority status because of your investments in the past? Is that?
No. The league requires that we have 10 open weekends before we go to Las Vegas and sit down with 30 other teams to do the schedule. When I got this year's schedule from the rink, they give us blackout dates. Well, the blackout dates, they gave us a total of 7 weekends, and 4 of them were Grizz weekends. And the problem is with Grizz weekends, there's no hotels. So I can't bring in teams because I can't host them anywhere. The Wingate has been phenomenal for 9 years of hosting players, and they absolutely said no way. That's prime time for everybody. So those weekends didn't even count. So we basically had 3 or 4 weekends. So I came back with whoa. And, you know, the schedule blocked out curling, figure skating, youth hockey, 6-year-olds, 9-year-olds, 12-year-olds, you know, and then us as far as the rink availability for those weekends. And in the midst of the lease negotiations, we were going back and forth about I can't schedule a season with these restrictions. It's just literally impossible, and it breaks the bylaws that our league is asking for. We couldn't resolve that between the lease issue. So what happened was we got a copy of the lease, and 9 years we've had the same lease. It's been cut and dry, hasn't been changed. And this year we got the lease, and we want a cut of this, we want a cut of this, we want this, we want this, we want this. And I came back, and they've never known this. Nobody's ever known this. And I came back with, hey, I lost $133,000 last year putting the Maulers on. I would really appreciate that you guys go elsewhere to raise money, fundraising, anything else. I don't have any more money to give to this program. And their email was simply back, we gave you the lease. If you don't want to adhere to it, then we're at an impasse. And my attorney told me flat out in big boy legal terms, they just told me to go away. And so I sat on that for 24 hours because I was in shock, and this is my baby.
Now, what are you supposed to do? Yeah.
I know Missoula is mad at me, but at one point you just have to say, is it worth losing $133,000 to get that kind of...
Well, not only that, not only would you be losing that much money, but you physically cannot do the season with the amount of time that they were willing to give you.
It was a lose-lose,
right?
100%.
Now, what if the team had switched back to the other league that you left because of the cheating scandal as you saw it from Helena? If you went back to that league, would there be different rules as far as the weekend scheduling? Would it have been more compliant, perhaps, with the use of the Glacier Ice Rink?
It would, but then I would be sued by the Western States Hockey League for $250,000 because they have the rights to this facility while the Missoula Maulers are here. So I couldn't. My hands were tied. Would it work? Yes, it would work. But there was nothing I can do with that. And that's why me resigning and bowing out gives Missoula the opportunity to bring in any kind of league they want. Because now that the Missoula Maulers are no longer, there's no hold on the city. The rink is open to any league.
So the name Missoula Maulers, is it gone? Do you think, can someone resurrect it?
No, Missoula Maulers is something I created, is something that my reputation, my name, everything I've done is on that name. And, somebody might come in and take over and improve on it, but I don't want to take the chance of somebody coming in and lessening it. It's very hard to run a junior hockey team. You have, yes.
Okay, we have to take a break.
Sure.
And when we come back, I want you to talk a little bit about the kids.
Absolutely.
Okay, because I know that you had to break the news to the kids, right?
Before the press release came out, right. Coach Baxter did, yes.
Okay, we're going to come right back and talk about. By the way, we have all 4 lines open. If you want to visit with Michael Burks, maybe you're one of those that said, hey, what's going on? Well, now this is your opportunity to ask him a question. He's standing right here. Got a pair of headphones right there. I'd love to hear from you. 721-1290 is our number, or you can make your comment on our Facebook page, and we'll be right back. Okay, we're back on Talkback. 721-1290 is our number. Missoula businessman, owner of what once were the Missoula Maulers. Michael Burks joining us here in the studio. Oh, yeah, blah. Facebook comment, go.
Yeah, Katie wants to know, will Glacier Rink reimburse you for the upgrades? What will Glacier Rink do with the facilities if there are no Maulers?
I donated all of the actual capital improvements. The only issue that we have right now is that the bleachers, the lights, the sounds are my property, and they sent a very demanding email on Friday morning that I remove all of my property as soon as possible. So we're asking them basically, when do you want us to take it out? I don't want to be that person, but when I'm demanded to do something, I'm going to follow the order. And so if things come to fruition, there will not be any bleachers or anything in there.
Let me ask a follow-up question here. You had a lawyer draft your press release.
Yes.
Is my understanding. I would only do something like that if I thought a lawsuit was coming in the future. Is there going to be a legal battle between Glacier Ice Rink and the Maulers? Or
the reason
Michael
why
Burks?
I had my attorney send the press release is I didn't want anything personal on there. I didn't want my name on there. I didn't want the rinks or anybody at the rinks name on there. I wanted it to be a generic, out-of-town law firm announcing the announcement so that there was no personal issues whatsoever. No, I do not want to get into legal battle with the rink. I don't. I just want to go away. I want to enjoy hockey again. I want to just go to the rink and watch my son play hockey. I want to go play GHL, and I want to just walk in there like everybody else, not have the pressures of having to worry about getting yelled at about something else.
You're too tall.
I know.
Everyone can see you come.
I know. Isn't that right?
All right. See, that's your problem. See, if you're short like me, you're good. Okay, let's get Mark on the line. Mark, thanks for holding. You're on with Michael Burks. Hi.
Hello, Mr. Burke. I want to thank you for bringing hockey to Missoula.
Thank you very much.
And you're welcome. But I mainly called because they were using you as in business vernacular as a cash cow. They were milking you for all you were worth. So I'm glad you stood up to them. But I think if it did go to court, that you'd win because all the improvements and stuff you did. They wouldn't work around your schedule because they thought they can get more from you.
Yeah, but I don't want to prolong this anymore, and that's why we sent out the press release on Thursday just to call it good, say we had a great 9 years, and we're okay to agree to disagree.
Let's just move on.
And let another team, another owner come in here, and quite frankly, we've paved a road that is very easy for somebody to come in, take it over, continue the tradition, and I 100% know that there is going to be a team here in the fall. If I had any doubt.
And you had mentioned that you're willing to, to work with them with all the stuff that you have to, like a reasonable cost type deal or what?
Well, quite frankly, I have a meeting at 12:30. Yesterday, I flew up to Whitefish and picked up the commissioner of the Western States Hockey League. We had a long dinner last night. I explained the situation to him because he's from Long Beach and, self-removed. He really didn't know anything other than what he read in the Missoulian, which we all know is what it is.
Okay.
Well, I don't know what that means, but we'll get into that later.
So we talked, and they are actually having a meeting at 9:30 as we speak in 3 minutes. Then they'll be coming over to my office afterwards, and absolutely 100%, I will facilitate the transition. I will absolutely stand next to anybody that is doing it to show them everything I knew. I want it to succeed, 100%.
Okay, Mark, anything else?
Yeah, and hopefully whoever takes over for the hockey, even though they probably have a different name, it'll make them easier for them to get what they want as far as scheduling. Because that's crazy, scheduling anything during Grizz weekend, which is the biggest thing around here. There's going to be no room unless you want to go down to Hamilton and Darby or Steve I.
Well, that as well as the fact that we can't
Thanks, Mark.
staff it, or we won't have any fans. We the first year, had no idea what was going on. We had a game, and the Grizz had a playoff game, and I was like, it's okay, because it was in 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and the Maulers started at 7:30. So I figured, okay, the Grizz will be over, and then everybody will come. The problem is we all know people like to
Party.
indulge, and they go home. They don't go to an ice rink after a Grizz game. They go home and sleep. And, we couldn't staff it. We had maybe 50 people in the rink, and we could not. And so we've told the rink, no more. We can't do this anymore because I have to still pay operating cost of the rink, and I'm getting 50 people there. And also, too, I don't like playing in front of an empty house. And that's why we do the Sunday free games. Nobody does that. I do that because I don't want to have the Glacier Ice Rink empty with the players on there.
So with the... you're sure a new team is coming?
Yes.
To Missoula?
Yes.
I mean, you've already talked with the new owner, things like that? I mean, how are you so sure? Just like divine wisdom, or you've got some tips on the inside.
Because I've made it extremely easy for somebody to come in and take over.
Okay.
And I can't go into any more details other than the fact that I've got a new owner, I've got the commissioner here, I've got everything in place, and I've got the assets to make it very easy for it to happen. And that's something that we sat down and discussed last night. I don't want hockey to go away, and I want somebody to be able to walk in here and just keep it going with different colors.
So I got to ask.
Sure.
You've got this mascot running around somewhere. There's a
Slash.
mauler hanging out, and a Slash is chilling out in some closet somewhere right now, probably.
Yes.
What are you going to do?
Are you asking me if Slash is going to come out of the closet?
I'm asking, yes. Is Slash going to? Is he going to turn into a skunk or something? Or what?
Here's your bulletin.
I'll let Missoula know. Slash will be in a closet until Slash is asked for to do any public appearances, and Slash will come out. I will do the Easter egg hunt as many times as I can, and Slash and Mini Slash will be there. They're there for the kids. That's why they were created, and I'm not going to take them away from the kids just because the hockey team's not here anymore.
So Slash will live on.
If anybody wants Slash to make a public appearance, they will.
Awesome.
No glue factory for Slash.
Well, I understand Slash might be at the Special Olympics this week, right?
He will be, actually. Yes, he will. He'll be in the opening ceremonies as well as everything else.
Fantastic. All right, we're going to come right back. And, John, we'll get you on in just a moment. We have 3 other lines, 721-1290. Michael Burks standing right here, ready to answer your questions. We'll be right back. And we're back. This is Talkback. 721-1290 is our number. Michael Burks, Missoula businessman here in town, and he's owner of several businesses, fitness, fuel fitness.
Fuel Fitness, that's correct.
All right, coming to Missoula very soon?
It is. Right now we have locations in Butte, Helena, Bozeman, and Billings, and we're very excited to open up our biggest 30,000 square foot, probably late August, early September.
And you also have a labor of love called the Garden of Reading.
Oh, yeah.
That's
my
awesome.
first. That's the first thing that I've ever done, and
Right.
I love it. It's just an awesome place.
All right, let's get to the phones. John, you're on Talkback with Michael Burks. Hi.
Hi, Michael. I was just had a question on the store because you guys put a lot of effort into expanding the Mahler store, and then obviously with you had the foresight to see how strong that lacrosse is coming on, and I'm one of the coaches for the Sentinel team. So that was kind of my question is with the Mahlers going away, what's your plans with the store, and then obviously expansion into looking at the lacrosse league?
Well, first of all, I'm not going to take any credit for that store. That credit goes 100% to Trevor McLeod. He brought that store from I'm going to call zero to hero. In the mall, we didn't make any money. Everybody knows that. So we purchased that building over there, and he has turned that building into an absolute hockey lacrosse dynasty. So it's a feather in his cap, not mine. We do have an online store that we've had for about 3 years now called HockeyWolf.com. What we're doing right now is we're converting that store to be called Hockey Wolf, just to get rid of the Mahler's name. But nothing will change whatsoever other than the fact that the name and the colors will be black and red instead of blue and black. It will be there, and Trevor will be the one in charge, and lacrosse will grow, and we'll be right there as it grows along with it.
That's fantastic. Thanks a lot.
Hey,
You're welcome.
best of luck, John. All right, thanks for the call. 4 lines open, 721-1290.
Okay, so one of the things that people were probably questioning is there room in Missoula for another ice rink? And would you be involved or desire that in any way? I mean, things might be cheaper out in the county, might be easier to lay ground. There's open space.
There is a ton of politics involved in hockey here.
You got to be kidding me.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yes. I mean, that's why I put my neck out there to get that multi-purpose arena, because it can warrant it 100%. The problem is you can't compete against MAHA, which is the Missoula Area Youth Hockey League, because they're in control of the hockey. And so if you just open a rink up without their support, you're not going to get anything. So if you did team up with MAHA and you did go and build a rink, it would be absolutely successful. And, like I've said 100 times over, a multi-purpose arena that held about 5,000 to 6,000 people would be the best investment Missoula can make. Spokane Arena generates $140 million in revenue to the city alone. That's not to the actual arena. And the fact is that we don't get a lot of events. And we could get those events because, they're coming from Minneapolis to Seattle every day, passing right by us. So they go to the Metra or they go to the Bozeman Arena. And the problem is the university, the Adams Center, cannot book that far in advance. So Missoula will never see a wrestling tournament. They'll never see a basketball tournament. They'll never see anything because those have to be booked 3 years in advance. And unfortunately, because of the Grizz basketball schedule, they never know what they're going to be playing, so they can't book out. So something like that would allow the city to host rodeos in the winter, monster trucks, motocross, concerts, everything that we are lacking. And it would allow the kids to have something to do all winter as well. And, that's just something that I've stepped out of. I presented my case. I've told them, the return on investment on $20 million is going to be a lot more than the soccer fields that they're spending $40 million on. And I'm just white noise. But yes, to answer your question, another rink is needed. It's not, will it be successful? It is needed. The rink is busy from 5 a.m. until midnight every single day.
If you want to build this thing, what you need to do is find a historic building that you think should go away first, and then the city would be behind you.
I've got enough problems. Don't get me involved in that.
Instead of the Missoula Maulers, it'd be the Missoula Mercantiles.
There you go.
I know it's called Historic Fort Missoula, but...
yeah, and quite frankly, I'll be honest with you, I don't go into those buildings in the fairgrounds because they're going to fall. They're going to fall. During the fair, they've got thousands of people that trample to those things. Those buildings are 100 years old. The bleachers aren't even connected anymore at the grandstands. If you go to the bleachers and look straight down, you'll see air. They're not even connected anymore. And we've brought that up several times, that there is a massive, massive liability there. And they just basically say, hey,
it's historic.
It's historic. We're not changing the thing. And it's like, all right, well, count me out.
Help me understand this.
Sure.
Okay, so you Glacier Ice Rink is on fairground property,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Is county government somehow involved in the running of Glacier Ice Rink, or is it sublet, or how does that work?
The county owns the fairgrounds. Maha leases the grounds where the Glacier Ice Rink is. And then the Glacier Ice Rink has its own executive director, Laura Henning, that runs the rink. So basically, the rink is just rented from the county, and we rent from the rink. So we really don't have anything to do with the county because we're just a subletter.
Let me ask you this: Is there a way? And again, I'm always looking for solutions. Is there a way for maybe the county commissioners to step in here and say, "Hold on, whoa! This is going way too fast. Let's everybody sit down around a cup of coffee and some bagels and some donuts or whatever. Maybe we can work this thing out where we can get the amount of time you guys need, and maybe we can fudge this, move that." Is that something that an executive committee like the city or the county commission could do, or is it pretty much in the rearview mirror now?
Well, no offense to the county commissioners, the Glacier Ice Rink is the only thing that makes money on the fairgrounds. They're short. They're short of ice time. They've begged the county to help them put another rink in, and the county commissioners have just ignored their request. So for them to care anything about this situation is laughable.
Okay.
What do you think? Have you approached them and said, hey, look at the situation here?
No. I Thursday night, I closed the book.
You're done.
I was done. And it's not I want to take my toys home. It's I'm done. I'm tired. I'm exhausted. Bottom line, people don't understand how many hours. Everybody talks about dollar signs. I put my family aside for 9 years in the winter to put the maulers on. And getting what I got back, and especially getting what I'm getting back from Missoula from all the comments, it was pretty unappreciated. So I am moving on and, taking those 1,000 hours a year that I spend on the maulers and spending them with my family.
We have to go to a break, but when we get back, you said something earlier in the show that just struck me about the Missoulian article. You said it is what it is, as if we had some a priori knowledge about what you interpreted from that article. Sure. When we get back, I'd like to tell you how you felt that article treated the situation, and maybe go into that a little bit.
Sure.
We're going to come right back. Also, all four lines are open. Michael Burks joining us here in studio, and we'll be right back. Hey, we are back on Talk Back. Brought to you this morning by Nissan Hyundai of Missoula, celebrating their grand opening sale. Selway Armory on Stockyard Road, Montana's premier firearms dealer. AAA pays for itself with discounts on big brands. Join now, get a free canvas tote. Western Montana, New Holland, south of the Y, on Highway 10 across from the Axemen. All right, joining us in studio, we have Missoula businessman Michael Burks. John King, you asked a question before the break.
I did. When my mic was on,
yes,
I had a question. Yes. I wanted to give this comment. It's from Kitty. She says, thank you for all you did for the community, kids, and most of all, the fairgrounds. So that's one of our comments that you can see the name for on our Facebook page. But I was hoping that you might be able to tell us a little bit about what you thought of the Missoulian article that came out the other day.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Am I good? Oh, yeah, there you go.
There you go.
Well, on the break, after you asked that question, I asked my attorney, and he said that people can take your article, Peter, that you posted, and compare it to the Missoula's article and make their own decisions.
Well, see, here's the difference. All right, here's the difference. What I do and what I've always done and what I always will do whenever I do an interview, especially that is impactful and is meaningful, I will record the whole thing from start to finish, unedited, and then place that in a YouTube video onto our website.
Correct.
So that people can go in there and listen to it from start to finish, hear everything in context. And then when I do the story on the air with, I don't have limited time to do it during the news, I'll take a couple or two or three, small cuts.
Sure.
And then refer them back to the website if you want to hear the whole thing.
Correct.
So that way, there is no opportunity to be misunderstood. I mean, if people listen to the whole thing, there it is.
That being said, though, right, you only were able to interview Michael Burks. Usually
Right.
for our interviews, the short stories are short. We're getting one side of a story.
Right.
There is another side, right? I'm sure
Right.
Glacier Ice Rink and you have some disagreements over this issue.
I have reached out to Glacier Ice Rink, so if they contact me, I'll do exactly the same thing for them.
But I will tell you this, that everything that I said in the interview was backed up by documentation, emails, tax returns, financial statements. There was nothing that I said to you on that interview that wasn't backed up with concrete information. So there's no he said, she said. There's email conversations. There's everything in black and white. And it's public knowledge. It doesn't matter to me. The Missoula Maulers are a public corporation. They're S Corp, and I have no problem at all showing exactly what they did.
Okay, so what about the Missoulian? I mean,
Well, so your lawyer apparently doesn't want you to go into detail about what you disliked about the Missoulian article.
No.
Okay.
I will tell you this. There is something that was brought up in the Missoulian article that absolutely had no bearing whatsoever on the Missoula Maulers' story, and it was a personal attack against my character about a disagreement that I had with my son's hockey coach. And unfortunately, I'm going to have to go to public with that as well. And as this whole situation has turned very ugly, showing that the Glacier Ice Rink being shocked that negotiations were over was a complete fabricated lie. That also will show the reason why the situation blew out of hand and never should have been put in print. And I'm sorry I have to do this, but I have a name. My kids, my wife, my friends are all just in mourning. Just the comments that have been said about me, about my family, about my church, about everything.
why do people? Forgive me. I guess
I
maybe
could not tell you.
I guess I'm Mr. Naive over here, but I don't understand why people do that. It's not helpful. It's not productive. It's horrible.
It's amazing. You just step back and look and you say, I put this thing on for 9 years. I didn't make any money. I put everything.
You lost a ton of money.
Lost a ton of money, and I did it with a good heart, with the hopes that it would make a difference. And then just reading I had to stop. Just reading a couple comments about the venomous things, you just kind of question, like, why did I do this?
So, by the way, you're not the only person in town that has a problem with the way the comment section on the Missoulian is run. I've spoken with head officials at the University of Montana, for example, that just think it's abusive.
It is. I mean,
that shield of, and if you don't know it, in the comment section on the Missoulian website, you don't have to have your name or your you don't really have to identify yourself at all. So you could say whatever you want and
have no accountability at all.
Right.
And quite frankly, my family is going through trauma. They're going through trauma. We really couldn't show our faces all weekend. We had to stay in the house. And it's amazing. It's a junior hockey team. We had a disagreement, and that's it.
With that in mind,
yes,
you said a little while ago that you had to break the news to the kids.
Yes.
Before you went public and released the news release from your attorneys. What was that like?
Coach Baxter notified, we have 16 returners, or I should say Missoula will have 16 returners to the team. Again, I will make it. I can't predict the next president, but I will predict there's a team here. And
Okay.
so my only interest right now is to protect Coach Baxter and those kids, that the right person comes in, fills the slot, and I will facilitate the transition to make it seamless. And so what Coach Baxter did is it got a hold of all those players and told them, don't believe what you read. We're good. We'll just wear a different name and different colors next year. So because, obviously rumors run rampant.
And these are kids. You had mentioned 12 to how
No,
many?
they're 16 to 20.
16 to 20. Okay.
But there's
All right.
kids such as Joey Porco, who have been here for 4 years, Austin Ozanero, who want to finish their career in Missoula. They love Missoula. And I want to make sure that happens. And I will do whatever it takes to make sure that happens. So
Now, these are kids that actually moved here
correct.
to play hockey.
Well, Joey right now is in Spokane, but we have a ton of players that still live here that played in the Maulers in the past. They fall in love with the city. And we've had players who, I don't know if people are like this or not, we've had players that have fallen in love with people here, girls here, and taken them home.
There you go.
I mean, they're at home right now in Colorado and married. It's just awesome.
Stealing our women.
Yeah, exactly.
Those hockey players.
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to come right back. Lines are open. If you want to make a comment, we'd love to hear from you. 721-1290. We have a Facebook comment when we come right back. Okay, it's Talk Back. We are rocking right along. And we have a question from Facebook.
Yeah, I got an easy question and a hard question. So
Okay.
the easy question from Pete. He says, why do you think a new owner would be able to handle the hockey team any better than you did with the difficulties you've had with the scheduling and the cost? I mean, you talked about dumping $1.2 million, I think you said, into the Maulers over the years. I mean, that doesn't sound like a ripe opportunity for an investor.
Well, first of all, the lease that they gave me wasn't catastrophic. It had nothing to do with that. What they did is they called around other rinks and basically asked what their deal was with their junior team. I have no problem with that. But I do have a problem with that there's no other owner of a junior team that puts $500,000 into a rink. And so my whole thing was, look, I built this for you so you can make money. We've increased the junior, the youth hockey enrollment with the Maulers. The GHL has, the Glacier Hockey League has gone from 30 teams to 84 teams.
Wow.
So I kind of am going to say the Missoula Maulers had a little bit to do with that. So my only concern was, hey, can we just leave it as is? Whoever comes in isn't going to look at that lease and go, this is ridiculous, because it's not. I'm going to be public with that. They never took commissions off dasher boards. Now all of a sudden they want to take commissions off dasher boards for our sponsors. Well, I'm not making money. Like, you're just taking more. And so I don't think that it's going to be hard for somebody to come in. As far as the weekends and what have you, the commissioner of the Western States Hockey League right now is meeting with them, and he's letting them know, look, if you want a team here, you have to have 10 weekends. We have to work together. The great thing about this is that we have Whitefish and Butte, so we can have the one-on-ones that we discussed Friday night in Missoula, Saturday night in Butte, Friday night in Missoula, Saturday night in Whitefish. It allows for those Grizzly weekends to work, so it's not completely out of possibilities of making it work. The problem is that we have 4 or 5 teams in the division that have to travel far enough that they need 3-game series.
Mm-hmm.
The problem is when you only give me 4 weekends, you've limited everybody else's schedule to adhere to ours. And if you've ever been in a room with 30 hockey owners and telling them, look, I have 5 weekends and you're going to have to deal with it,
Right.
it's PTSD time. Like, they get mad because they think you're special, and you're not special. This is what you've been given. So, if the commissioner of the league goes into the scheduling and says, these are the 5 weekends available in Missoula, deal with it, then hey, he's the commissioner. He gets the clout. I don't.
All right, this is the hard question, I think. This is from Earl. He says, one thing I'm curious about is what Mr. Burks would say to the idea that he has a reputation of, quote, taking his sticks and pucks and going home, end quote, if things aren't going exactly his way. His disagreement with the Mail, the Helena cheating scandal.
The Mail or the Mall?
He said Mail. I don't know what he meant. I'm
Probably
sorry. I'm sorry. It is Mall.
Yeah.
It's just a piece of dirt on my computer. Made it look like an eye. And the article in the paper, and even his comment about the Mauler's name on the show this morning. It all seems to make it look that way. Is personal pride on many sides getting in the way of community benefit?
Well, I guess we can address everything at once. If we're going to bring up the mall is very simple. It's public knowledge if anybody actually read it. The lease that I had with the mall was another 18 months. The mall lease says that if I can find another tenant to take over my lease, then I have that full option to do so. The Gardner Reedon or the Mahler's Hockey Central wasn't making money in the mall because of the fact that we had to stay open for 4 months when there's no ice. It's only 1,500 square foot. We didn't have enough square footage to actually present our product. So the Gardner Reading is 4,000 square foot. And quite frankly, everybody knows between Amazon and everything else, books don't sell as much. So we got together and we put a game plan together to say, look, this is what we're going to do. We're going to take the Gardner Reading Incorporated, which is a totally separate entity with a totally separate tax ID number, and we're going to swap them. We're going to put Mahler's Hockey Central because, and also too, that reader board at the Gardner Reading is great for Mahler's games. So what happens is it allows us to expand our inventory at the Gardner Reading, have our own hours at the Gardner Reading, and then what also would do was bring the Gardner Reading into the mall, which the mall has more foot traffic. So it'd be a win-win for everybody.
And recently, or in the last 3 years, lost its bookstore.
Exactly. So there's no competing store in the mall for there to be.
We have 2 minutes.
Okay, I'll be really quick. So there's no competition in the mall whatsoever that the Gardner Reading would come in and create a problem with. We gave that information to the mall, told them this is what we're going to do, and they told us, not in a million years are you bringing a Christian bookstore in this mall. So we said, well, the lease says we can, and they said, well, we don't believe it does. And so we said, well, I'm sorry, the lease you wrote says if we found a different tenant to replace ours, then we can. And bottom line is the lease is in my name, Michael Burks. It's not in any corporate name, so I can put anything I want in there legally. They told me, no. I'm not going to stay when I lose $60,000 a year in that mall when I can make money having my own hours in another building. So did I take my pucks and leave? No. I did what the law told me I can do. I got out of the lease. Well, bottom line is they prevented us to go in there based simply on because it was a Christian bookstore. There was no financial anything that had to do with anything.
Is there anything in their bylaws prohibiting a Christian bookstore?
No, but Peter Lambros told me straight up that he was not going to allow it in his mall. End of story.
Wow.
He said that new big huge company from Sweden. What's the new big huge clothing place?
It's the Swedes again. I don't understand.
Yeah.
What is it with you and Sweden?
H&M. He said flat out that H&M would terminate their building, their contract, if they knew a Christian bookstore was coming into the mall.
Are you serious?
Wow.
As a heart attack. So
okay, we have 1 minute.
So don't believe everything you read on the internet. Just because I don't air my dirty laundry on my side doesn't mean that I don't have one. And again, I tried to get out of this lease without causing any problems. And I'm here because the rink stepped up and tried to make it look bad.
Okay.
So
we are flat out of time. Michael, thanks.
Absolutely.
Okay, and I have issued an invitation to the folks at the Glacier Ice Rink to have exactly the same sort of treatment, exactly
sure.
whatever, because I'm hoping they'll take us up on it because people need to know. Anyway, what's coming up tomorrow, John?
Tomorrow we will be having a conversation with, County Commissioner candidate Stacey Rye. She's actually sitting as the County Commissioner right now. From 9 to 10 and then open phones for the first half hour.
All right. You guys have a great day, and we will see you tomorrow morning.